The only wars we won were the ones we were the most brutal mother on the planet. Which I don't disagree with what Israel's doing. It's like they should just go in there and be like, you know what? We want our hostages back. If we don't have them back, clock starts now. In 24 hours, we're going to start bombing motherfuckers and killing civilians, 30, 40,000 a time. So you civilians better pack up and get these motherfuckers. And you go against Hamas. You go against them.
Last week, musician Kid Rock joined the Joe Rogan Experience and went on a pretty disgusting rant about how the Israeli government should carry out mass murder of civilians in Gaza. I am not putting words in his mouth. You're about to hear it for yourself. You heard a little bit of it already. Kid Rock even suggested that Israel unleash nuclear bomb levels of devastation on Palestinians. Let's watch.
That's the only thing people understand. This is what happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Boom, just wiped out. They're like, oh, yes, we don't have Supreme Leader anymore. We did not know you had such big bombs.
Yeah, but everybody has big bombs now. The problem is you use a big bomb, you set a precedent that they can use a big bomb.
They don't have one.
Now, I have to say, Kid Rock probably didn't expect Rogan to push back, but on this issue, Rogan's actually been pretty reasonable and has criticized the way Israel has carried out this war in Gaza. And as you can see, Rogan in this conversation gently but persistently pushed back on what Kid Rock was saying. Let's watch him defend Palestinian civilians.
You can't just nuclear bomb people.
I didn't say nuke them.
Nuclear bomb you back.
No, I didn't say nuke
Okay, you said Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I thought you meant it like that.
No, I was saying just the brute force of strength used in those conflicts.
even a conventional bombing campaign, if you want to do that somewhere, they can do that to your place.
I'm a peaceful man.
Right, but you're not supposed to pick civilian targets. That's actually a
you
war
can't
crime.
fight war like that.
But you're not supposed to
pick
hiding in
civilian targets.
They are. So that's where like the Mossad
They're in
have been able
hospitals.
to
They got
get
trenches underneath. They got operation centers.
They killed those dudes.
And all we can
the
do is
other
go
day.
by the reporting. Like, you know, I get it, but at some point you got to believe something, right?
No, I definitely do. They definitely seem to be doing that. But also, if you're a person who's born in Palestine, you're under their control. It's not your fault.
And by birth.
Yeah, but those aren't our enemy.
So we have more video from the exchange, but I wanted to pause for some discussion about it. Credit where credit is due. I think that Rogan did a good job pushing back and doing it in a calm way. Unfortunately, Kid Rock went back to advocating for the slaughter of innocent civilians. We'll get to that in a moment. But what are your thoughts, Cenk?
No, I don't think that Rogan did a good job. I think he did a great job. And having watched that entire portion of that conversation, he kept going back and making reasonable point after reasonable point, and one that was actually anti-war, and one that was actually humane. And he wasn't just saying, hey, like maybe we shouldn't kill civilians, which he did say, right? But he was also trying to explain to Kid Rock and to his audience, hey, remember, they get to bomb back, and then this ends in disaster. And they spent a long time talking about how it would be like to live without electricity, because Rogan's trying to explain, if we all bomb each other to pieces, we're not going to have the world that we know now. And that is definitely true, okay? So by the way, this is why you don't do cancel culture. You remember how mad I was at Joe Rogan? And I called him out in 100 different ways. But when people say that he should be fired and Spotify should take him off, I said no, okay? Because partly, like just canceling someone because you don't agree with them and making sure they're never allowed to speak is a terrible idea. Because people are more complicated than that. And sometimes the guy you don't agree with and fervently don't agree with on a topic might come back around on a different topic and make a great point.
100%.
And so look, I get super frustrated with Rogan when he buys into right-wing talking points and he goes down a path that I don't think is factual and is feeding into like some of the emotions that people have, etc. On the other hand, he's not, and especially Rogan, because he's not dishonest. He's trying to get at what's true. Sometimes he doesn't, and it frustrates me, but at least you can see him trying, right? So great credit to Rogan on this one. And guys, it's not that hard. I know everywhere else in media, it all becomes about personalities and soap operas and tribalism. And so if you don't like Rogan on one thing, you have to hate him forever. No, you can say he did terrible on that and amazing on this, right? So let's all use our brains, our judgment to make these calls. Now, when you turn to Kid Rock, he's a mess. So the argument that he used in the very beginning, I just rewatched The Dark Knight Rises, the Batman movie with Heath Ledger doing a brilliant job as Joker. He's taking lines that the Joker used. Like, go back and watch the movie. The Joker tries to get the civilians to turn on each other. He's like, well, if they don't hand over the guys we want, then we'll just kill 30,000 at a time. It's almost like a direct line out of Joker's mouth from the movie, right? You're not realizing how barbaric you sound. And I know that the guys like Kid Rock think that it's macho to be barbaric. Like, oh yeah, so what? Kill all their families and kill the civilians, so what? Bomb them into the Middle Ages. And he did say Hiroshima and Nagasaki, okay?
He did, yep.
Yeah, so it's not tough, it's stupid. You wouldn't like it done to you. In fact, you would go nuts if the hair on a right-winger was touched, right? Donald Trump, a self-serving so-called billionaire, one of the elites, and then when they try to hold him accountable to the law, you guys are like, oh, and you cry and cry and cry. But when it gets done to someone else, you're like, oh yeah, murder their mom, their grandmom, their kids, who cares? Come on, man, you've got to have just a smidge of humanity, but it didn't appear that Kid Rock did.
Well, at one point, Kid Rock also proposed supplying Palestinian civilians with arms so they themselves could overthrow Hamas. But before long, he was calling for the slaughter of those civilians again in this conversation. Let's watch.
What if we empower the people of Palestine who could be good people? I don't know.
Just arm them.
Last I checked, most of these motherfuckers hate us. And I'm not saying all the people do. There's probably a lot that don't. Just like in Iran, the population is, because of the Iraq war, there's so many under 50 there. That's like the majority.
The thing is, these guys don't have access to other information outside of where they live. And then on top,
Elon, send the Starlink. We'll send them some guns. Let's go.
The problem is, most of them would be so opposed to Israel that they would want to use those guns to go attack Israel.
Well, then now we have due reason to them all up.
Yeah, but if you think about, you're a kid and you don't know why there's a conflict between Palestine and Israel in Palestine, and then they start bombing, and then they kill your mom.
Yeah,
but you didn't do anything.
Yeah, look, I think Rogan made a really good point at the end. It's a similar point to something that I've said on the show. Just put yourself in the shoes of a Palestinian child whose entire family was killed by Israeli bombs. And think about what that does to your mentality and just like the human need for vengeance.
Yeah.
That is what's being bred right now. I don't understand how this keeps Israelis safe in the long term or how this is gonna lead to peace in the long term. It's not.
He humanized them.
Yeah.
And he asked the question I try to ask all the time on the show, which is shoe on the other foot, guys. For us as well, always think about, okay, if you believe in something, would you still believe it if the shoe was on the other foot, right? And it was done to you. And so he humanized them so much, and that even Kid Rock said in the middle there, you caught it, he said, well, they could be good people. He got Kid Rock, who wanted to nuke them, to say they could be good people. But Kid Rock doesn't know anything about politics. He shouldn't discuss politics. Because then he said, maybe we send them guns.
That's the answer to everything.
But you're gonna send the Palestinians guns? Okay, I think you're gonna get in a lot more trouble saying that than you would saying nuke them. So, because he doesn't know anything. The answer isn't always guns. It's not really the issue, right? And so last thing, I can't stand that talking point of, well, they're hiding behind the civilians. Well, MS-13 is a terrible gang, and some portion of MS-13 is in LA. So should we bomb LA because they're hiding behind the civilians?
Let's not do that.
Yeah, I mean, think about how dumb that is. So wait, you should bomb innocent people, whether it's in East LA, West LA, wherever it is, because MS-13 is hiding between them? Well, why do you go get MS-13? Oh, well, it's hard. I know. That's why we created cops and a military.
Guys, I mean, there's hostage situations in America all the time.
Yeah.
And you know what happens? The police show up, SWAT show up, and then they bring in a hostage negotiator. They don't just bomb the building that the hostages are being held hostage in. Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy thing to do.
Well, it did happen once in Philadelphia, where they bombed Move and blew up a whole city block. And we all thought it was a pretty bad idea, so we never did it again.
Yeah, the exception proves the rule.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't bomb buildings and blocks and cities filled with innocent people when it's our people. When you do it to the Palestinians, what you're saying is, I don't value your life, and your innocent civilian doesn't equal my innocent civilian. I don't care about you at all, and I don't care if you're murdered. I don't care if I'm the one murdering you. And that is a despicable thing to say.